All right, so you advised Liza to sit back for a few weeks, but she seemed anxious to make something happen. How did you feel when she continued to unnecessarily draw attention to herself, game-wise?
That's really good, actually. I really thought that if Liza just stopped doing everything that she was doing, she would probably be okay, because I could do damage control on her, and I felt strongly that I could change the perception of her within the house. In the past, the last few days that she was around, I thought that she had stopped doing game stuff. To the best of my knowledge, she stopped doing game stuff, and people were just kind of doing it around her.
Right.
But I think the writing was on the wall at that point. There wasn't much I could do, especially because it was a double.
Yeah. Okay, so after the double eviction, if Emmett and Jillian had saved you, what was your game plan going forward?
I honestly would have stuck with Emmett and Jillian right to the end. I really would have. Loyalty to me meant a lot in the game. I was loyal to Emmett to a fault, and I really tried hard to get trust with Jillian. I made moves that were to the benefit of basically them at my own expense, ultimately, which was part of my downfall. But it was because I trusted Emmett, and he's a great game player.
Right. Okay, so lots of different fans have opinions on your game. Some felt that, you were running the house. Others felt that you weren't doing anything at all. So what do you have to say to those critics that don't think that you had a big impact on the game?
My game was all about subtle manipulation. It could be suggested that I didn't really do a lot during the day, and that's because I didn't have to. I always knew the relevant information, and then I could just have fun. And that's all that it was about for me. I understood where the information was going, how it was being distributed, and why. So that's all there was. I didn't have to make big moves because I was controlling the vote, and in this game, controlling the vote is very important.
Perfect. Okay, so obviously one of the biggest things of the season that's been talked about was Alec throwing the bridge to veto power veto. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Alec felt strongly that he was the reason why I was on the block, and as a friend move, he threw it to me. Shield through comps the entire season, that's what we do. He didn't want to be saved by a veto, he wanted to save himself through his own social game. And, he and I are both Will Kirby fans. When Will Kirby did it in Season 2, there was no veto, and we wanted to just do it by ourselves.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so your exit, I gotta ask, that was very, very strange, very unique. Can you explain, the meaning of everything that you said and what you did?
I knew that if I was going to exit the Big Brother house, I wanted to exit in a way that it was very unique. Obviously, I've watched all the American seasons. Nobody's ever said nothing in their final plea, and nobody have ever sat down and done basically a poem. It was something from my heart, and those who understand it will certainly understand me and my game a whole lot better.
Perfect. Okay, so another thing that a lot of the house guests and fans did talk about was you and Alec emulating Dan and Will's game. So did you guys actually set out to try to do that, or was it just something that came naturally, or what do you have to say about that?
Alec and I are students of the Big Brother game. Will and Dan are the two best ever, period. Unfortunately, during the live show, I told Dan that I thought Will was better, and I hope he forgives me.
I know.
But I respect those people so much, and to me it's like Sidney Crosby studying tapes of Wayne Gretzky, and if people want to mention me in the same breath as those two Big Brother gods, then that is flattering. I am nowhere near the player that they are. I shall hope to be someday if I get another shot, but it's an honor just to be mentioned in the same sentence. It's unfortunate that it's suggested that it's a negative thing, but I think it's positive that they're seeing some similarities, and I'll take the positive in that.
I agree, yeah.
And I think you have 5 minutes with each, right?
Yeah.
So just 1 more minute.
Okay.
I was screaming at the TV when he did that.
Okay, so what were you thinking when you found out that Gary had got voted back into the house? Do you think it was fair to do it that way, or do you think perhaps it would have been more fair to do a competition between you and the person who was voted back in, like Brendan and Lawan from Big Brother 13?
There's nothing nothing fair about Big Brother. Gary won the vote back in. That's basically a challenge in and of itself because he was popular in the diary room. Everybody loved him. That's part of the UK version of the game, and I feel like there's a strong influence in the Canadian game. Gary deserved to be in there in the end. I do disagree somewhat with the time in which it was brought in. Final Four should be Final Four. I don't really know about making a Final Five again. However, that said, Gary earned his spot in the end. He made one of the biggest moves in the game, and I voted for him, and I really thought he deserved to win.
Awesome.